Welcome to Holy Heartbeats. My name is Nathan, and I narrate Christ-centered testimonies from all over the world. These testimonies include rapture and end-times visions, near-death experiences, encounters with angels and demons, God, Jesus, and even Satan himself. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you are fond of listening to these types of stories, and let me know what you think about these testimonies in the comments section below. Furthermore, for those who want to share their personal testimonies, visions, and revelations from God, you can send us your own stories at holyheartbeat7@gmail.com. I will be very honored to read your testimony, which may inspire, edify, and encourage a lot of people in their personal journey of faith with the Lord Jesus Christ. The Illuminati's plans were successful. New Age author David Tame described Fantasia in his book The Secret Power of Music as a superb marriage between the visual and musical arts, and noted that many sequences exemplify what New Age cinema aspires to be. The movie's ability to influence the mind is undeniable. Disney employed strong-arm tactics to ensure the film's creation, but Fantasia was a box office failure when it was first released in the 1940s. However, it was never intended for mainstream success. It was designed for the occult world. By the 1960s, the Illuminati had cultivated a drug culture and a population of undetectable mind-controlled slaves, many of whom had been programmed with Fantasia. During this era, the film became a cult hit within the drug culture, which included numerous Illuminati slaves. 0 minutes. The curtains open, and the action begins with an orchestra. The conductor, positioned on a step pyramid, is depicted as the central authority figure. Master programmer Dr. Joseph Mengele, also known as Dr. Green, appreciated Fantasia because of his passion for music and his expertise as a violinist. Mengele enjoyed the works of Bach, Beethoven, and Schubert, and he used orchestral music to facilitate the creation of mind-controlled slaves. During programming, he would portray himself as the conductor, with the orchestra symbolizing his children. This theme is reinforced throughout the film. 0.5 minutes. The instruments begin to play. The musicians appear as silhouettes, casting shadows on the wall. Altars often perceive themselves in a similar way, as mere shadows or silhouettes. 7.5 minutes, the master of ceremonies, referred to as Taylor, begins speaking, grooming the viewer. He suggests that the film may evoke geometric figures floating in space in the viewer's imagination. 2 minutes. The master of ceremonies explains that there are 3 kinds of music. Some that create definite stories, some that create definite pictures, and some that exist purely for their own sake. 2.5 minutes. The master of ceremonies introduces the concept of absolute music. 3 minutes, he states, abstract images that might pass through your mind. Music will suggest other things to your imagination. The Philadelphia Orchestra begins playing Toccata and Fugue by Bach in the background. As a children's cartoon, or for adult viewers, the film has already alienated the average audience by this point. It is clear that Disney anticipated this outcome, given the film's esoteric beginning. 3.5 minutes. The conductor is prominently visible, while everyone else is depicted as silhouettes with shadowy mirror images, a reflection of how many altars perceive themselves. Leopold Stokowski stands prominently as the rising sun ascends, an allusion to sun worship and the sun rising in the east. The music rises and falls, training the child to move up and down the trance ladder, guiding them into deeper or lighter states of trance. 4 minutes. The conductor raises his hands and makes an Illuminati hand gesture as the music begins. 6 minutes. A row of violinists plays, represented as silhouettes with shadows. 6.5 minutes. a harp scale is heard in the background. This scale serves as a foundational programming tool. Triggers are often attached to this harp scale, or it is used as a reference for a piano scale, as piano instruction is more accessible for many children than harp instruction. Therefore, the harp scale is frequently transposed to a piano scale. 7 minutes. A group of 3 musicians is shown. 7.5 minutes. The conductor, symbolizing the programmer, becomes invisible. The assistant programmer asks the child, "Who is green?" Green becomes invisible. 8 minutes. Lines representing violin bows appear, with the violinists themselves invisible. Then, the Golden Gate Bridge is depicted. The assistant programmer instructs the child, "Remember the bow, not the violinist." The bow lines symbolize energy. 8.5 minutes. Colored discs flash across the screen. The assistant programmer states, "That's Dr. Green's orchestra." Geometric shapes and flashing lines explode on the screen. Concentric rings appear, representing the concentric worlds within the system. 10 minutes. The assistant programmer declares, "You are his star," as stars flash across the screen. Many hidden altars are represented as stars. Swirling lines, vibrant colors, and additional concentric lines emerge. 11 minutes. Worlds within worlds are shown, followed by water imagery. Concentric circles, patterns for internal worlds, are displayed. 5 or 7 castle-like structures materialize briefly before vanishing, serving as patterns for some internal castles. A flowing yellow line descends the center of the screen, identified as the Yellow Brick Road. 11.5 minutes. Numerous stars fill the screen. 12 minutes. Various worlds are presented, including an illusionary castle. Many stars appear, which the victim's system models after for their altar parts. Purple stars dominate the screen, representing royal star altars. 72.5 minutes. Spiral splotches of cloud-like colors appear and fade in dissociative patterns. This is identified as the kingdom of the gods in programming. The assistant programmer asks, "Whose orchestra?" This scene is used to establish an internal heaven where the kings reside. Finally, the camera shows the conductor concluding the performance. 13 minutes. The programmer finishes constructing the basic worlds. 13.5 minutes. The master of ceremonies discusses Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker. 14 minutes. 13 circling lights come into view, revolving continuously. These lights include colors such as yellow, white, orange, and blue, though they don't necessarily represent programming colors at this stage. Stars transform into fairies. A fairy, surrounded by glittering fairy dust, spins around. The victim is later instructed, "Make a wish and create what you desire." Flowers morph into butterflies as hypnotic music plays. The fairy throws fairy dust, creating an enchanting atmosphere, and soon spins a web. 15 minutes. The Kabbalistic tree of life is depicted with lights, followed by rapid flashes of colorful ribbons. A compass image briefly appears on the screen. 16 minutes. Lights multiply, forming a spiderweb in the background. Numerous stars shine within the web. The spiderweb represents a subsystem within the programming structure. Multiple shots of stars embedded in the web are shown. 16.5 minutes. There is an explosion of light, creating a splintering effect. This visual mirrors the fragmentation induced by electroshock therapy, which is used to create altars. 6 large mushrooms begin dancing in a circle, joined by a smaller mushroom. The programmer points out, "The mushrooms are a family." When real electricity is later used, the mind will fracture into a family of altars. 17.6 minutes. Concentric circles ripple through water. Flashing petals emerge, symbolizing the spreading dissociation. Flowers, referred to as top spinners, twirl and then float away in bubbles, representing dissociation. The programmer states, "A family of spinners." See how they spin into bubbles and nothingness. The spinning flowers dance, and the dissociative imagery deepens. At this point, the child victim's head wobbles from the effects of drugs and dissociation. 19.5 minutes. A family of fish forms a star, and the assistant programmer comments, "See how sad they are." The fish dance in circles and hide behind veils. The fish made its own bubbles, and you can make your own bubbles too. 21.5 minutes. Hypnotic figure 8s appear in the water, inducing a trance. This imagery helps train deeper alters to enter sleep. The assistant programmer says, "Look, you're just floating. Float, sleep. See, she went right into the center of the trance state. You dance round and round, and where we end up, you'll never know." 22 minutes. Bubbles dominate the screen, a tool used in programming to help the child mentally escape trauma. The assistant programmer might use a bubble toy to create a playful environment. The child is taught to place memories into bubbles and let them vanish. Why would you go into the bubble to escape the darkness? 1, 2, 3. Now there are many bubbles. This is what we want you to do. The film shows bubbles of various colors, such as gold, training the child to associate specific meanings with different colors. In this scene, fish, flowers, and bubbles intertwine. The assistant programmer asks, "Don't you feel like that fish? Round and round you go," reinforcing dissociation. The fish swim in hypnotic figure 8s, accompanied by a soothing voice saying, "Sleepy little fish, you're sleepy and tired. This is nothing but a dream." The child is led to believe that their internal world is separate from themselves, represented as external objects like stars or bubbles. Flowers in various programming colors, such as red, green, orange, blue, and white, appear as the music becomes still. A voice whispers, "Shh, listen closely." 22.5 minutes. Eyes glow in the darkness as a calm voice assures, "Everything is fine. Just relax." Silhouettes resembling fish appear, representing alters or hidden parts of the mind. The assistant programmer explains, "They aren't there. If you see them, they aren't real. They look like flowers. When you see them, you won't see a child, you'll see a flower." This technique convinces the child that sensed presences aren't truly there. 23 minutes. Various plants appear and begin to dance. This scene plays a crucial role in structuring the victim's internal world. The plants divide into numerous smaller plants and flowers before eventually consolidating into a single plant. This demonstrates the concept of "you are one, but you are many." A voice reassures, "Families always work together. Whether you are blue, yellow, or green, families always work together in harmony." 24 minutes. The assistant programmer states, "Bubbles all have a life source. Look, what's in that bubble?" 24.5 minutes. The child is told, "You can have your own orchestra." Fruit appears on a tree, symbolizing programs hanging in the internal world. Each fruit is a different color, such as orange, white, yellow, purple, blue, and green. Fairyland materializes on the screen, and fairies awaken, fluttering through the leaves. The assistant programmer proclaims, "There are your fairies. She is very magical. She can create anything, and so can you. The fairies are so magical." When the core is first split. When the core is initially divided, the creative segments of the mind are taken and used to form the fairies. Programmers specifically utilize these original creative splits without resorting to further torture to produce additional fairies. These fairies represent the creative aspects of the child. The number of fairies corresponds to the number of creative fragments the child's mind has produced. These core splits are subjected to intense programming. Fairies, being core splits, hold significant roles. They are not only the system's creative force, but also act as protectors of the core. Fairies are distributed throughout every part of an altar system. A child of 3 or 4 who watches Fantasia would have had their core locked away by the age of 2.5. While the core's stars remain unlocked, they can access the core's energy. Once the system is fully constructed, The stars are locked away and serve as guardians of the core. They mimic the core to protect it. The fairies' true importance emerges after the core's stars are locked away, as programmers then rely on the fairies' creative powers. 24 minutes. A vine, representing the system's double helix, lights up leaf by leaf. The leaves alternate and illuminate in sequence, teaching the child the foundational structure of a DNA helix and the concept of staggered exit permissions. 25.5 minutes. The leaves now appear to float up and down, simulating the movements that altars will later mimic. A voice explains, "Some fall to the ground and die." At this point, the oak tree story is introduced for programming purposes. When programmers seek to destroy an altar, they may use specific tortures and then depict the splintered altars as leaves falling and dying. These dead altars are dissociated from their memories, which are permanently locked away in the mind. 26 minutes. A series of fairies emerges from a box-like leaf structure. The child is trained to compartmentalize objects, such as altars, into various shaped boxes. 26.5 minutes. Leaves blow in the wind, and fairies shield objects to keep them safe. 27 minutes. Fairies continue flying as the seasons transition in sequence. An internal green-skirted fairy is connected to the internal hourglass during programming. 27.5 minutes. The fairies stop flying and begin skating on ice, signaling the arrival of winter. 28 minutes. A winter scene unfolds, marking the end of the 4 seasons. 28.5 minutes. The Master of Ceremonies introduces a sorcerer. The sorcerer appears alongside his assistant, Mickey Mouse. Mickey aspires to possess the sorcerer's magical and creative powers. This subtle narrative parallels the programmer, the sorcerer, and the core along with its creative splits, Mickey Mouse. Portraying the programmer as a wizard aligns with reality, as top programmers are often grand masters in the Illuminati and practitioners of witchcraft. 29 minutes. The sorcerer reappears, this time with a skull beside him. He uses a cauldron to conjure a vibrant butterfly in colors such as yellow, purple, white, and blue. This butterfly, symbolic of monarch programming, undergoes constant transformation before being shattered into countless fragments. 30 minutes. Mickey sneaks in and takes the magic hat. While the hat holds no specific programming significance, it is adorned with witchcraft symbols. A magical broomstick then appears. 30.5 minutes. The broomstick comes to life. The imagery of the broomstick is employed to create pancake people, or ribbon altars, who transport internal messages. In the film, the broomstick carries buckets of water. Layer upon layer of stories is presented to the child, each crafted to serve programming goals. The parts of the child's mind that experience the movie are dissociated and become blank slates, ready to receive mental patterns for programming. As described elsewhere, the mind processes sensory input by comparing it to previously identified patterns, a step-by-step process essential for both learning and programming. 31 minutes. Mickey, as the apprentice sorcerer, manipulates the broomstick. The narrative conveys the idea. The child, Mickey, can do what the great magician did. You can tell your mind what to do. You gain power by learning to be creative. Mickey and the victim become reflections of the wizard controlling them. 32 minutes. The sorcerer is shown sitting on a throne, conducting like a maestro. This imagery subtly connects Mickey to the programmer, who acts as a conductor. It also ties to Illuminati imagery of grandmaster programmers seated on thrones. The name Mickey has been used by mind control programmers such as Michael Aquino, adding layers of symbolic resonance. 32.5 minutes. Mickey is depicted leaving his physical body and astrally projecting himself. This vivid portrayal of occult astral projection stands in stark contrast to the perception of Walt Disney films as wholesome entertainment. Mickey's control over lights and weather. This scene establishes the mental groundwork for the child to dissociate from their body and either hover over it or travel via astral projection. Mickey Mouse begins conducting lights. symbolizing the altars the victim will create for the programmer. These lights, also referred to as stars, represent the conductor's orchestra. Mickey controls lightning and stormy weather, evoking fear-based imagery. After the child watches and memorizes the film, electroshock is applied at specific points in synchronization with the movie. The child, like Mickey, learns to magically create splits under duress. 33.5 minutes. Mickey conducts waves, and the narrative subtly depicts him navigating magical spheres and conquering spirits. This scene is a veiled reference to Enochian magic. 34 minutes. Mickey awakens back in his body, finding himself in trouble with rising water, symbolizing a water trauma. He is thrown into the water, mirroring the drowning tortures inflicted on child victims to instill no talk, no tell commands. Victims who experience these triggers often feel like they are drowning when the no talk command is activated. 34.5 minutes. The water continues to rise, intensifying the theme of trauma. 35 minutes. In a sudden shift, Mickey retrieves an axe and splits the broom in half. The broom dies but multiplies as it comes back to life. This imagery reflects the programmer's intent to traumatize the child to the brink of death, causing a tortured altar to multiply into numerous duplicates. Armies of brooms emerge, representing the multiplication of altars. The assistant programmer reassures the child, saying, "It's okay to splinter. You are tired. You can escape by resting and letting a part of yourself come out." The programmer then directs the child's attention to what they have created, asking, "Can you look at what you've created?" However, when the child observes the trauma-induced creations, they experience anger and dissociation, entering a mental vortex. The child is warned that revisiting these memories will plunge them into this vortex. 35.5 minutes. Water pours in from the brooms as Mickey frantically throws water out, unable to keep up. 36 minutes. A hypnotic vortex suddenly forms, sucking everything into its swirling depths. 36.5 minutes. The brooms, now marching in an army, continue to bring water while Mickey reads from his magic book. In the narrative, the book transforms into a lifeboat, rescuing Mickey as he is pulled into the vortex. The vortex symbolizes the accumulation of high mental energy preceding the splitting of the mind. It is often created through traumatic experiences, such as rides at theme parks, where electrical shocks are synchronized with moments of heightened fear. Special equipment like electrical boxes or shoes is used to deliver the shocks, amplifying the trauma. 37 minutes. At the bottom of the vortex, the child encounters guardian demons, consistent with Illuminati programming. In the movie, a guardian spirit parts the water like Moses parting the Red Sea. 38 minutes. Mickey shakes hands with the conductor, who then acknowledges his work. Mickey congratulates the conductor, who responds, "Mickey, you've done a good job." This exchange symbolizes the successful creation of the child's inner world. The Master of Ceremonies introduces the next song, "The Rite of Spring," associated with occult rituals. The music reflects the programmer's intention to guide the child through a creation ritual. The narrative subtly introduces Darwin's theory of evolution, promoting it as a distraction from moral accountability and as a gateway to teachings in Hinduism and witchcraft, targeting the deeper altars. 39.5 minutes. The Master of Ceremonies describes a lonely, tormented little planet spinning in a sea of nothingness. This imagery mirrors what programmers tell the child as they construct an internal world. The sea of nothingness becomes a key concept in programming, referred to as outer space or the Rubicon, later reinforcing secrecy. Programmers will later tell altars, "Look down on the empty sea of nothingness. There is no Dr. Green, there is no Daddy there." 40 minutes. A swirling galaxy of stars and comet-like lights appears on the screen. The child is told, "Many worlds are there." This lays the foundation for the child to mentally construct galaxies and worlds within their inner mind. The programmers encourage the child with phrases like, "Be like God, create your world, be your own God, and create your own world." 42 minutes. The face of a planet emerges, further solidifying the child's internal constructs. 42.5 minutes. Numerous volcanoes erupt on the screen, establishing the foundation for creating internal volcanoes within the child's mind. 45 minutes. Oceans, water, and fire come into being. The child victim must understand the process of world creation to build their internal world. Lava flows as the flute plays in the background. Lightning flashes, and the violence of the fierce weather is amplified by drugs, making the imagery overwhelming. This enhancement is vital, as creating internal worlds requires immense mental energy and external torture. Vivid images like these assist the victim in constructing their internal landscapes. Special purpose fragments of the child's mind are created to embody the elements of fire and water. These fragments are isolated, knowing nothing beyond their elemental role. Breaking through layers within the altar systems triggers internal earthquakes. These scenes, along with later depictions of quakes, form the foundation for internal violent weather. When an internal earthquake shakes a victim's mind, it mirrors the effects of a real earthquake. Everything internally shifts and destabilizes. The altar system also includes fire children, who start internal fires, causing altars to feel as though they are burning. This sense of burning drives the mind back to the programming tied to survival compliance. 46 minutes. Oceans continue forming, adding depth to the internal world's construction. 47 minutes. The action slows, creating a calm moment. 47.5 minutes. The screen darkens except for an amoeba, which divides into two amoebas. As they multiply, the assistant programmer encourages the child with phrases like, "It's okay to multiply. God wanted you to multiply." Since the programmers work with preschoolers who have clean slate altars, they use relatable imagery to convey concepts. The splitting of the broom and now the amoebas reinforces the idea of multiplication in a way the child can comprehend. 48.5 minutes. The assistant programmer adds, "If God can make a fish, you can make a fish. You can do anything. You can be anything." 49 minutes. Dinosaurs appear. The programmers reframe dinosaurs as monsters or demons. Sea-dwelling dinosaurs are reframed as guardian demons guarding internal rivers. These guardian demons tie into end-time programming concepts such as Armageddon and are tasked with protecting various internal worlds. 50 minutes. Dinosaur birds swoop down to seize prey, imagery later reframed as winged monkey watchers from the Oz stories. These winged monkeys represent child altars assigned to guard the system. 51.5 minutes. Fierce dinosaurs, later reframed as dragons, protect the internal swamps. These swamps serve as foundational imagery for the internal world, with demons and guardian altars, like Damien, set up as protectors. 52 minutes. Additional swamp scenes appear, forming the basis for the child's internal river Styx. Long-necked dinosaurs resembling snakes emerge and are reframed as demonic entities. The assistant programmer emphasizes to the child, "Look, the seed of Satan. That is a demon." Reptilian-like demon imagery is also shown to reinforce this association. At this stage, the child cannot distinguish between reality and these programmed associations. 54 minutes. A terrifying Tyrannosaurus Rex chases other dinosaurs. This scene, especially frightening for a child under the influence of LSD, features long-necked dinosaurs reframed as pythons. T-Rex is equated with Leviathan, a demon linked to the Kundalini spinal column and associated with pain and torment. A prolonged struggle ensues between T-Rex and other dinosaurs. 55 minutes. The dinosaurs begin dying. The assistant programmer tells the child, "The Lord doesn't like them." This message is later reframed to teach that if altars integrate or if unauthorized individuals attempt to access the system, the affected parts must die or bury themselves deeply within the internal world. 56 minutes. The screen displays dead dinosaur bones. 59 minutes. Mountains rise dramatically from the ground. 59.5 minutes. Storms rage, with strong winds and floods consuming the screen. 60 minutes. The storm subsides and the sun rises, symbolizing a fleeting moment of stillness. 61 minutes. The sun sets, which the programmer may reframe as the moon setting or use both interchangeably. The programmer leverages the child's creativity during this process. Various scenes throughout the film depict the moon in its phases, a concept integrated into programming themes like Mr. Moon. 61.33 minutes. The orchestra begins playing. Music plays a pivotal role in mind control programming, with its profound effects on the mind and body. Music can double the heart rate, alter respiratory patterns, enhance sensory perception, and induce dissociation. Dance and march music, performed by orchestras, influence muscle response, and are frequently used to deepen dissociative states. 62.5 minutes. The Master of Ceremonies introduces the soundtrack, described as an important person for Fantasia, who is frequently seen in Disney studios. When Mr. Soundtrack appears, he is portrayed as a simple vertical line. The groundwork is laid for the concept that a person can be anything, even a mere line. The Master of Ceremonies explains that each sound produces a visual picture. 63 minutes. The Master of Ceremonies reassures the soundtrack, saying, "Don't be nervous." A sound resembling an electrical shock is made, and the vertical line develops a splotch of color. During programming, an electrical shock is administered to the child at this moment. 63.5 minutes. The harp begins to play, producing a scale that transforms the line into double eighths and snake-like spirals. The child is trained to dissociate when seeing such imagery. 64 minutes. The violin ascends and descends the musical scale, demonstrating do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. These scales are used to teach altars how to move within the system. As the music descends, an altar is taught to go deeper into a trance. As it ascends, the altar is trained to rise out of it. Instruments such as violins, flutes, basses, and bassoons play integral roles in teaching altars how to function within the system. The Master of Ceremonies describes the flute as very pretty. 64 minutes and 3 seconds. A trumpet begins to play, and colors such as yellow and orange begin to emerge vividly on the screen. 64 minutes and 30 seconds. As the bassoon plays, the MC comments, "Go on, drop the other shoe." He elaborates, "Go to the shoe," which is a metaphor for go to the ground, the deepest trance level. This imagery is pivotal, as the following double pyramid with a helix through its center appears when the bassoon plays. This specific configuration is foundational for Illuminati altar systems. 65 minutes. The drum begins to play, accompanied by other percussion instruments. These sounds are ingrained in the child's programming as the cult's heartbeat. This internal rhythm will resonate within the child for years. The cymbals create a shattering sound, reminiscent of broken mirrors, symbolizing fragmentation and dissociation. 65 minutes and 30 seconds. As the sounds intensify, a line appears with a pyramid at its peak, laying the groundwork for the internal structuring of the system. 66 minutes. The MC laughs and introduces Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, the Sixth Symphony, which is the next segment. 66 minutes and 30 seconds. The screen comes alive with magical unicorns in a variety of colors. Pan, a Satan-like figure, appears playing his pipes, and is soon joined by numerous smaller versions of himself. These little pans, or demons, play and dance with the unicorns as the orchestra continues. 67 minutes. Pegasus, the mythical Greek winged horse, appears, portrayed as a maternal figure caring for her young. Within the programming context, Pegasus symbolizes protection. 68 minutes. The MC emphasizes, fantasy is fun. Fantasy is a game you play. Mother teaches you. The child is instructed to see the black and white horses flying together but remaining distinct. The voice affirms, they always fly together but are separate. They are flying over the clouds, into the blue yonder. Fantasy becomes a reward for compliance, making the child feel gratification for playing their role. The fantasy scenes are vivid and more captivating than real life, filled with vibrant colors. 68 minutes and 30 seconds. A castle materializes as Pegasus flies around. This imagery aids the child in constructing internal spiritual castles. Then, the scene transitions to water, and the child is told, "See the mirror images." Water can be glass. This establishes the concept that mirrors, whether glass, water surfaces, or even asphalt, will house lurking demons beneath. 70 minutes. Waterfalls cascade forth, symbolizing the erasure of the slave's memory of the events endured. At the conclusion of this programming session, the child is instructed, "Just remember the good. Just remember the fantasy." This directive serves to soothe the subconscious after the programming. The child is further told, "Wash yourself clean." 70 minutes and 30 seconds. Little girls are depicted as centaurs, half girl, half horse. The MC narrates, "See, the little girls are horses." 71 minutes. A scene shows one girl centaur braiding the long hair of another. This imagery teaches the child to metaphorically braid their memories, locking them away securely. For example, traumatic daddy memories are braided and sealed permanently. 72 minutes. Male centaurs appear near water, creating mirror images in its surface. 72 minutes and 30 seconds. A crown is placed on a female centaur accompanied by 2 doves. During Illuminati rituals, lilies and doves hold significant symbolic meaning. The female centaurs gaze at the males, symbolizing the coexistence of male and female parts within a system. 73 minutes. One female centaur initiates seductive behavior toward the males, who respond accordingly. The female centaurs wear bras made of daisies, a symbol linked to life or death programming. Each centaur has a unique color, laying the foundation for altars to have distinct access color codes. 73 minutes and 48 seconds. A marriage ceremony takes place between the centaurs. The programmers capitalize on such nuances to introduce the concept of arm-in-arm marriage ceremonies to the child. The cherub children in the scene observe sexual body language, which the child victim is also absorbing. 74 minutes and 12 seconds. The centaurs go swimming, with the child instructed to associate, "I feel like a little girl with a horse's body." 75 minutes. Cherubs dance and fly around. 3 cherubs are singled out, playing flutes together. A fair-haired, blue-eyed female centaur, a preferred archetype in Illuminati symbolism, enters a trance state upon hearing the flute tones. This teaches the altars that specific tones can induce trance states and trigger programmed actions. One cherub transforms into a heart and discreetly enters a tree, symbolizing the keeper of the tree within the programming. The assistant programmer highlights this to the child victim, saying, "Look at what he did." 76 minutes and 30 seconds. A curtain descends to shroud the scene, resembling a tree in its texture and appearance. Bubbles fill the screen once more, accompanied by flowing water. All the mythical creatures join in a celebration, dancing joyfully and partaking in a lavish feast. 77 minutes. The voice narrates, "See the feasts, see the banquets. The feasts are okay, the banquets are okay." 78 minutes. The voice continues, "The leaves are falling." At the feast, wine resembling blood is consumed. "See the blood," the voice instructs. The scene reveals little devils popping up. The only human present in the Disney scene is honored, reinforcing the notion that humans and animals can intermingle. This programming teaches the altars that their hybrid identities, whether animal or something else, will be accepted during the cult's feasts. In this context, a female centaur makes a suggestive pass at a corpulent human who proceeds to chase her. The phrase "must please the master" echoes as a directive. 80 minutes. A menacing storm brews, bringing Zeus and other Greek gods into the scene. The voice warns, "Better fear it. He's a god. You'd better fear him. He throws lightning." The demon Furfur, depicted as hurling lightning bolts, also creates thunder and fierce winds within the system's internal world. 81 minutes. Lightning bolts descend from the heavens, intensifying the chaos. 81 minutes and 30 seconds. Terrified, all the cherubs scatter and seek shelter. 82 minutes. Pegasus, portrayed as a protector, flies in to shield everyone, especially a newborn Pegasus. The wind is personified as a two-headed figure, a representation of Janus, who storms through the sky. The programmer often projects their own voice into the wind, amplifying the psychological manipulation. Meanwhile, the internal Greek god, a demon, hurls another lightning bolt. 83 minutes. The voice instructs, "See the gods." The child is being taught how to structure their internal world. Zeus eventually relaxes and falls asleep. 84 minutes. Vivid colors flood the screen as the voice commands, "Familiarize yourself with all the colors." This serves as a lesson for the child to remain within the framework of the programming, as stepping outside of it induces terror. The child is being conditioned to fear the godlike demonic guardians. 84 minutes and 30 seconds. The fantasy world grows more vibrant and lively. A goddess in the sky manifests a rainbow, introducing the rainbow goddess of the programming. 85 minutes. Unicorns and cherubs happily fly over the rainbow. The unicorn, a symbol derived from ancient British paganism, represents moon worship, while the lion symbolizes sun worship. This is reflected in the royal arms of the British royal family, where a unicorn and a lion flank the shield. Sexually, the unicorn symbolizes androgyny. In the programming, the horses, pegasi, unicorns, and centaurs from Fantasia lay the groundwork for the creation of nightmare altars, beasts of burden designed to carry an altar system's memories. These logical, unemotional altars are among the early splits programmed once the child becomes verbal. 86 minutes. Rainbows and bubbles dominate the screen. The film emphasizes how Furfur, the god of thunder, is depicted as the protector of the rainbow. Altars who go over the rainbow cannot return, as a demon guards it. Additionally, other altars within the system are programmed to fear these gods. The master in the film, representing Furfur, swallows the rainbow. Internally, if an altar searches for the rainbow, they will only see stars, as a protector altar will assert, "I swallowed the rainbow." The rainbow is intentionally hidden. The scene teaches, before you go over the rainbow, you have to put all your memories in the bubble. You can't take anything over the rainbow into Fantasyland. 86 minutes and 30 seconds. Apollo, the sun god, makes an appearance. 87 minutes. A massive maternal spirit fills the sky, overshadowing the rainbow. This figure represents a key element inserted into the system's structure. In the film, all the characters eventually fall asleep. 87 minutes and 30 seconds. Arrows shoot stars into the heavens, adding more imagery to the programming. When an altar looks for the rainbow, they see stars instead. 88 minutes. The conductor concludes the segment. 88 minutes and 30 seconds. The scene transitions to a Venetian nobleman's palace, presumably a duke's residence. Curtains open, continuing a recurring motif explored in earlier parts of the programming. 89 minutes. As the curtains part, an ostrich begins to dance. Other animals soon join, engaging in a ballet performance. 90 minutes. The ostriches form a circle as they dance, symbolizing unity. The assistant programmer may suggest to the child, "See, it's okay to dance together. Dancing is acceptable." However, the deeper meaning, that this represents the cult family, is left unstated. 91 minutes and 30 seconds. The ostriches feast on grapes, play, and gaze into the pool, observing the bubbles. 92 minutes. Hippos emerge from the pool. The voice reassures, "It's okay to be different. It's okay to be strange. Use your creativity." The hippos join the dance, embodying a spirit of joyful abandon. 94 minutes. Elephants appear, playfully blowing bubbles from their trunks. The programmers might also engage in blowing bubbles with the child, creating an experience where love and hate, kindness and cruelty are deliberately interwoven. This manipulation blurs the victim's ability to distinguish affection from torment. Many survivors recall fond memories of daddy, but these moments are often laced with sadistic abuse. Bubbles rise into the air, one containing a fish, a visual representation of bubble programming. The child victim is conditioned to place their bad memories into bubbles and let them float away. This programming leaves many victims with a sensation of detachment, feeling as though they are floating, disconnected from reality, as their memories drift away in bubbles. 98.5 minutes. The scene shifts to show hippos in a hypnotic slumber. 3 sinister alligators emerge, representing the 3 primary programmers. Cloaked in robes that obscure their forms, they are shadowy figures lurking ominously. These alligators pursue the hippos, portraying the programmer as someone to fear, love, and respect simultaneously. The hippo tries to escape, dancing frantically. One alligator dances with the hippo, but his menacing attempts to devour the hippo create a sense of dread. A flying hippo crashes onto one of the alligators, and the sequence features elephants, hippos, ostriches, and alligators all dancing in a surreal fantasy land. 100 minutes. The orchestra begins to dance. The phrase, "Do what you're told and we will have fun," echoes ominously. 707 minutes. The master of ceremonies announces the next sequence as the struggle between the profane and the sacred. The conductor's silhouette mimics the pose of the Satan figure that is soon revealed. 702 minutes. A dark, towering mountain with a castle looms in the distance. A winged, fearsome Satan raises his clawed wings, their design resembling segmented fingers. These claws form the imagery of the demon Malebranche, whose satanic grasp is used to terrify and control the altars. The victim is taught to fear the hands of the programmer, Satan, and Malebranche. As Satan's wings open, he is portrayed as an awe-inspiring and terrifying figure. Incidentally, the name Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty is derived from maleficia, meaning evil misfortune caused by witches. 702.5 minutes. Satan begins summoning the dead, raising skeletons. This imagery sets the foundation for programming themes like the Valley of Dry Bones coming to life as skeletal armies. 704 minutes. The scene layers in foundational imagery for Armageddon programming, as Satan calls all entities to himself. 104.5 minutes. The hell pit is revealed, its vivid and terrifying colors designed to make the imagery intensely real for the child victim. Satan smiles cruelly as demons burn in hell. The voice narrates, "No matter what color you are, if you're not good, you'll end up there." 705 minutes. The voice declares, "That's what happens if you're bad. You're thrown into the hell pit." 705.5 minutes. 3 beautiful female demons begin to dance in a circle, but they abruptly transform into Luciferian forms. One demon morphs into a goat. 706 minutes. The demons continue their grotesque dance under the watchful eye of the powerful Satan. The scene, saturated with vivid, horrifying depictions of hellfire and ghastly figures, lingers for an unsettlingly long duration. The voice warns, "When God finds out how bad you are, look at what he'll do to you." 707 minutes. Satan is depicted in all his dark and majestic evil, an imposing and terrifying figure. 707.5 minutes. Church bells begin to toll, signaling the demons to retreat. The dead return to their graves. 708 minutes. Ghosts descend into their graves as soft music begins to play. Ave Maria by Schubert, composed for the Catholic Church, softly fills the background. 109 minutes. Satan transforms into a mountain. The voice remarks, "Do you see Lucifer anywhere? No. You only see a mountain." 110 minutes. Lights shine in a column-like formation, resembling people carrying torches. As the imagery develops, walls begin to form. 110.5 minutes. An arched bridge appears, its reflection mirrored in the water below. A column of silhouetted figures walks along the bridge, their reflections visible in the river. The assistant programmer addresses the system, saying, "Time for all the good children to go to church. It's okay to go to church. Go serve God." 113 minutes. A vertical sliver of light appears as doors open, revealing a mirrored effect that aids in creating the illusion of front-world and back-world systems. A new world emerges, representing the front system's reality. Both the front and deeper altars are instructed to forget the movie. As programming advances, the front altars are hypnotically brought through these doors into the light, leaving behind the fear and darkness of the kingdom of Satan. They are commanded never to look back, closing the doors to the kingdom of Satan, a realm shown in excruciating detail as powerful, fearsome, and dominant. The kingdom of light is presented only as a place of refuge from Satan's terror, without power or intelligence, serving solely as a stabilizing element to allow the mind to recover. The church is not depicted as superior to Satan or his kingdom, but as a temporary reprieve from the horrors of the programming. 115 minutes. The film concludes with a tranquil vision of heaven. In the final moments, the child hears, "That world belongs to you. It's a beautiful world. It's the world we want you to live in. It's beautiful." After enduring the terror and trauma inflicted throughout the film, particularly the fear instilled by Satan's presence, the child eagerly embraces the creation of a serene, beautiful world to mentally escape into. The power of Disney's Fantasia lies in its ability to shape and communicate with the unconscious mind, constructing foundational mental structures within the child. The unconscious mind, which governs our creative capabilities, absorbs these deeply embedded ideas. The conscious mind then builds upon this foundation, adapting it into day-to-day thought processes. Having explored these topics in depth, the following quotes acquire greater significance. Joe Flower, in Prince of the Magic Kingdom, remarked, "Walt Disney was obsessed with creation, driven to build magical worlds, not, as many artists are, out of paint and canvas, or words, or even film, but physically, out of concrete, wires, smoke, electricity, and highly programmed employees." Julian Halavy, writing for Nation, criticized Disney for leading the nation into a drift to fantasy. He continued, "One feels our whole culture heading up the dark river to the source, that heart of darkness where Mr. Disney traffics in pastel trinketed evil for gold and ivory." Aubrey Menon's observations on Disney's success are strikingly relevant for those familiar with programming. He stated, "The strongest desire an artist knows, to create a world of his own where everything is just as he imagines it." John Ciardi's critique was far less forgiving, describing Walt Disney as the shyster in the back room of illusion. Eliot noted, "While his filmed fairy tales may have appeared at first glance to be light and dreamlike, upon closer examination they seemed more like nightmares of deconstructed reality in league with the era's leading neo-Freudian modernists." You have now encountered an unprecedented warning about the hidden truths behind Disney's Magic Kingdom and its connection to mind control. Many Americans profess a belief in God, attend church, and consider themselves born-again Christians. However, due to the Illuminati's systematic deception over generations, the American public, and the world at large, has been conditioned to see Disney as inherently good and to revere Walt Disney as a benevolent figure. This cultivated trust led parents to entrust their children's minds to Disney's influence without skepticism. Week after week, children consumed Disney's content, which subtly introduced Illuminati ideologies and a political agenda. Furthermore, Disney facilitated a trauma-based mind control program targeting hundreds of thousands of young, impressionable children, stealing their minds and souls. Many of the child slaves subjected to Disney-themed programming are prepared for roles in the rise of the Antichrist. Walt Disney and his family have played a pivotal role in this larger plan, reinforcing the biblical truth. What is highly esteemed among men is an abomination to God. Types of sources. The information in this section has been gathered from multiple sources, including anonymous testimonies. Individuals who worked for Disney, often under the protection of pensions and medical insurance, have shared insights under conditions of anonymity. This is due to the Disney hierarchy's strict intolerance for exposure, often retaliating against whistleblowers. In some cases, investigators faced threats to their children's lives as a warning against pursuing their inquiries. Books on the Hollywood film industry and Disney. Approximately 20 books on the film industry and Disney's works were reviewed to gain a deeper understanding of the Disney brothers and the company's operations. Among these, The Art of Walt Disney from Mickey Mouse to the Magic Kingdom by Christopher Finch, New York, Harry N. Abrams, Inc., 1975, was particularly informative. Another type of source were the standard biographical reference books, such as Who's Who in the West, 1951, World Biography, Who Was Who, Current Biography, 1952, and others. Another type of source was critics of Disney's movies, including several articles exposing The Lion King, Media Spotlight's article Fantasia, Rush Limbaugh's comments and statements regarding how Disney had betrayed its viewers' trust, and the Spotlight's February 26, 1996, article titled, Disney Turns Back on Family Values. Another type of source consisted of magazine and newspaper articles about Disney, such as the Oregonian's article on a Disney director who was a convicted child molester, as well as articles from the New York Times, Newsweek, and other publications. An important series of highly detailed investigative reports was written by Harry V. Martin for the Napa Sentinel in 1989. These reports were crucial in revealing some of the Illuminati, CIA, Contra, and drug-running activities in Napa Valley, California, with which Roy Disney was associated. Martin examined extensive records and produced excellent investigative journalism. The magazine Monde 2000, issue number 12, published an article on non-lethal weapons being developed by the New World Order. This article was reprinted in the Encounter Chronicles Journal of Scientific Intelligence and discussed Disney's collaboration with Sandia National Laboratories and Los Alamos National Laboratory. Another type of source came from victims of Illuminati mind control who have recovered memories of being programmed at Disneyland and Disney World. Another type of source has been watching Disney movies as an investigative tool to understand how Disney programs and skillfully indoctrinates the American public into witchcraft and other influences. The author of this work has personally visited both Disneyland near Anaheim, California, and Disney World near Orlando, Florida. Another source was the Walt Disney Company's annual reports, as well as the Reference Book Directory of Corporate Affiliations, 1986, published by the National Register Publishing Company. Another type of source included books specializing in details about Disneyland, such as Disneyland and Beyond, The Ultimate Family Guidebook, edited by Ray Riegert and published by Ulysses Press of Berkeley, California, and Walt Disney's Disneyland, by Martin A. Sklar, introduced by Walt Disney himself. The AAA published a 27-page booklet titled Disneyland Park and Southern California in 1996, providing information on what Disneyland and its surrounding area offer. The booklet repeatedly refers to Disney magic. One might wonder how Christians and non-occult individuals fail to see the occult influences present in Disney. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in our next video.